Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Secretary Haaland. Congratulations on the new position. I represent one of the largest congressional districts in the country, and over 90% of the land of my district is public lands of one form or another, many of which are managed underneath your department. So I am very happy to see you taking aggressive action in your new role. I'd like to ask a couple of questions about the budget that you have presented, in particular as it relates to the Great American Outdoors Act funding. So as I'm sure you're aware, it's $1.9 million a year billion dollars a year that Congress has appropriated for the purposes of improving and developing infrastructure on those public lands. I was a little disappointed in looking at the budget that you're presenting today to realize that very little of that funding is being spent recreationally to improve access to our public lands. In fact, by my count, only about 7 projects are being proposed for funding that are recreational projects, which is only about 11% of the total funding. So can you explain the department's philosophy when it comes to appropriating that money and why more of that money has not been prioritized for recreational uses?
I appreciate the question, and I'll give it a try, and then perhaps Rachel may be able to fill in a little bit. But we are. I know that the deferred maintenance there's a very big backlog of deferred maintenance, and that is where a lot of work is being done, or we know that needs to be done using GAOA funding, and we're grateful for it. I supported it when I was a member of Congress as well. And so the deferred maintenance backlog is large, and that's something that we are working to remedy.
Thanks so much for the question. I would say in terms of the access for the projects, recreation is one of the factors that goes in. As the Secretary mentioned, deferred maintenance is and sort of buying down some of these large projects that are on the books that are creating challenges for park visitors and safety issues is a huge priority. For access, we do have a number of roads projects in terms of allowing people to come into public lands. I would note that one of the highest priority projects is a Yellowstone River Bridge project, which is going to help support one of the main arteries to the park that brings visitors there. Each bureau does things a little bit differently, but I think we are certainly open to working with Congress and making sure that we're implementing the law as intended as we allocate funds going forward, and know that Congress has a role also in helping select the projects. So thank you for the question.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And while we're talking about deferred maintenance, that's what I'd like to ask a second question about, because among the facilities that I represent are the Mojave National Preserve and the Joshua Tree National Park. And as I'm sure you're aware, both of those facilities have enormous deferred maintenance problems. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, having seen them, how desperate that need is. In the Mojave National Preserve, it's nearly $120 billion. Joshua Tree, which is, as you know, one of the most visited national parks in our entire system, the deferred maintenance need is over $60 million. So I'm hoping that I can get your commitment that to help us address those deferred maintenance issues, because neither of those facilities was awarded any project funding in the first 2 rounds of the Great American Outdoors Act funding, and so I'm hoping we can fix that.
Thank you, Congressman. That's very well noted. I appreciate knowing about that. Thank you.
All right. Will you work with us to try and help that?
I will be happy to work with you, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, we want to be a resource to you. I want to congratulate you on your new role and encourage you to come back and visit us often here at the National Resources Committee.
Thank you so much. And I have had an opportunity to visit Joshua Tree, and it is indeed a beautiful area, and happy that you have a strong passion for it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chair.